The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton tells the story of a young greaser, pony boy, who accidentally gets involved in a killing to defend his friends after being driven away by his brothers. While fleeing from the police, he and his friends rescue children from a burning church and get injured themselves. Waiting at a hospital, Ponyboy not only transitions from a fugitive to a hero facing his own heart, but also realizes that he is not the outcast he believes himself to be. I'd like to share this scene with you because it reminds us that sometimes the people who have been the harshest to us all our lives are actually the ones who love us the most. The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. I was sitting in the waiting room, waiting to hear how Dally and Johnny were. I had been checked over, and except for a few burns and a big bruise across my back, I was all right. I had watched them bring Dally and Johnny in on stretchers. Dally's eyes were closed, but when I spoke, he had tried to grin and had told me that if I ever did a stupid thing like that again, he'd beat the tar out of me. He was still swearing at me when they took him on in. Johnny was unconscious. I had been afraid to look at him, but I was relieved to see that his face wasn't burned. He just looked very pale and still and sort of sick. I would have cried at the sight of him so still. Except I couldn't in front of people. There's some people here to see you. Claim to be your brothers or something, Jerry said. I leaped up and ran for the door, but it was already open, and Soda had me in a bear hug and was swinging me around. I was so glad to see him, I could have bawled. Finally, he set me down and looked at me. He pushed my hair back. Oh, Pony Boy, your hair, your tough hair. Then I saw Derry. He was leaning in the doorway, wearing his olive jeans and black t-shirt. He was still tall, broad-shouldered Derry, but his fists were jammed in his pockets and his eyes were pleading. I simply looked at him. He swallowed and said in a husky voice, "Pony Boy." I let go of Soda and stood there for a minute. Derry didn't like me. He had driven me away that night. He had hit me. Derry hollered at me all the time. He didn't give a hang about me. Suddenly I realized, horrified, that Derry was crying. He didn't make a sound, but tears were running down his cheeks. I hadn't seen him cry in years, not even when Mom and Dad had been killed. I remembered the funeral. I had sobbed in spite of myself. Soda had broken down and bawled like a baby, but Derry had only stood there, his fists in his pockets, and that look on his face. The same helpless, pleading look that he was wearing now. In that second, what Soda and Dally and Two-Bit had been trying to tell me came through. Derry did care about me. Maybe as much as he cared about Soda. And because he cared, he was trying too hard to make something of me. When he yelled, Pony, where have you been all this time? He meant, Pony, you've scared me to death. Please be careful, because I couldn't stand it if anything happened to you. Derry looked down and turned away silently. Suddenly, I broke out of my daze. Derry! I screamed, and the next thing I knew, I had him around the waist and was squeezing the daylight out of him. Derry, I said, I'm sorry. He was stroking my hair, and I could hear the sobs racking him as he fought to keep back the tears. Oh, Pony, I thought we'd lost you. I think we did. Mom and Dad. That was silent fear then, of losing another person he loved. I remembered how close he and Dad had been, and I wondered how I could have ever thought him hard and unfeeling. I listened to his heart pounding through his t-shirt and knew everything was going to be okay now. I had taken the long way around, but I was finally home to stay. Thank you.